Every year, there are Steam Next Fests, a short time that video game developers put out a demo of their games. Only a week long, it's kind of like a sneak peek, sometimes by weeks, months, or years before you see the final thing. Because of the demo state of these experiences, many of them cut together for better or for worse, so I'm not going to judge things too harshly. Sometimes the experience is different in the final product, but at least we get to see a general feel of what the experience is going to be. I'm trying to play as many of these over 400 games as possible, trying to find things I like, learn what cool new things developers are doing. So let's dive into this season's Steam Next Fest, Volume 3. Zet Zillions, developed by Ota Iman Studios and published by Raw Fury, is going to be a roguelite deck builder's dream, taking the anime stylings of Soul Eater and the gameplay of Monster Train. If you take them and put them together, it'd turn out something like this. Allowing you to combine cards mid-battle for strategic purposes, it's a pretty neat idea. Shooting thousands of people at large space entities while embodying a crazed commander of a ship, nation, army, anime thing is extremely fun and clearly has a lot of craftsmanship behind it. I always think I'm over the million different iterations of a deck builder, and then another game comes out with a slight twist, and they pull me back into it. Zet Zillions is launching an uncomfortable amount of people at enemies, releasing sometime soon. Guild Saga Vanished Worlds, developed by Ocelot and published as well, embodying everything you love from a tactical RPG mixed into a very traditional tabletop experience. Guild Saga had a delightfully brief tutorialization, jumping right into their world, as any good tabletop campaign does. From aligning with gods to diving into secret dungeons, it's terrifically executed and got some real pretty music. The pixel art is so dang good, I pulled out a sprite to try and make some of my own, but shortly after creating a few abominations I gave up. The only thing that kind of gave me a little friction was the go-to Steam RPG text font, the one that everyone uses. Surrounded by the pixel masterpieces, it definitely made me do a, but it's a demo. As well as, that font is so common because it's easy for alterations and accessibility settings and features. And at the end of the day, am I really going to write an essay on how I didn't like the accessibility-friendly font of your gorgeously animated game? Guild Saga Vanished Worlds, coming out April 15th. Developed by Mate Przybilski, I'm sorry my pronunciation is lacking, and published by Crowbar, Fragmented City continues in a world first envisioned a few years ago in Through the Fragmentation, which has been on my wishlist since its creation. Possessing a surreal styling that you embrace half a second into playing, Fragmented City shows you how to properly do task missions in a game. Having a feeling of secrets down every alley, the objectives commonly have a cheat the system angle. I hung out with riffraff, helped an old man, followed by collecting all the recycling in town, for just enough scratch to get something from the pawn shop. The music gave me a lot to think about, like what tracks we should use and why, as well as what makes not just the best song, but also the best loop to spatially evolve through a game's levels. Fragmented City is coming soon. Terra Memoria, developed by Le Moutard and published by Dear Villagers. Terra Memoria gets straight to the point of its stylings being right out of a Super Nintendo tactical RPG era game, along with some nice Octopath sprinklings. A combination of 3D effects and pixel art, it's narratively driven and has very clear tutorializations. Battles have a turn order manipulating backbone to moves, and it's a smart, subtle twist on games that have done similar in the past. It made me feel more grounded in the combat and made my movesets a bit more realistic in my headcanon world building, as certain moves take a certain allotment of time. The music always had a slight Northwestern European feel through the demo, and I need to go back and spend more time with it because I knew I had only scratched the surface of the tale they were telling 40 minutes into it, and I know it deserves more of my attention. Terra Memoria is coming soon. Developed and published by Broccoli Games, this demo takes the tried and true ideas of Overcooked and pushes them farther. A roguelite barista hell, this demo didn't know who it was dealing with. Having lost all my friends while beating Overcooked 2, and fired from 2 different coffee companies, I fancy myself something of an expert in this specific Venn diagram. And an expert I was, until I bought every coffee apparatus in the game, realized space management is a core component on top of time management, and promptly failed. In my mind, kind of getting fired from a barista job for a 3rd time, which rounds things out nicely. My only extra thought was, I wonder why they didn't make it multiplayer, but I don't have any more friends to lose playing it, so I guess that's someone else's problem. Coffee Caravan is due in the first quarter of 2024. They Speak from the Abyss Zenith is developed by Nikki Culpa and produced by Two Left Thumbs. The darkest of my gameplay experiences all Next Fest. It's a PS1 style dungeon crawler. I'm not bothered by taboo material, so the heavy use of let's call it blood magic mechanic didn't put me off in the slightest. With art that says, "Ooh, gross, look at me more," They Speak from the Abyss has the Shin Megami Tensei core, wrapped up in a warm late 90s hot topic I can't wait for My Chemical Romance charm. Possessing the ability to look around your surroundings and crouch, They Speak from the Abyss Zenith is plating some very interesting movement mechanics for a dungeon crawler. Also, I got drunk with fairies in a club in hell. Anyways, narratively, it deals with a lot of those I don't want to be here anymore feelings, and that really cool battle option of let's be friends. They Speak from the Abyss, Zenith, is really freaking cool. There's another game by them by the same name minus the Zenith titling, and it looks a smidge retro-ier and still due to come out as well if it interests you. The only thing I'm not super into was the character portraits, but that's only because my artistic sensibilities are so refined and beyond reproach, I can't expect anyone to fulfill my lush artistic needs. They Speak from the Abyss, Zenith, is due to come out soon. Toree Saturn is developed and published by Ciactro, who has a 6 years and counting obsession of recreating our 90s memories of being in a Toys R Us video game section. If you aren't familiar with Toree, then you're no friend of mine. I don't really mean that. My love of graphics is put to shame by the works of Ciactro, with their past ventures re-embodying every one of my favorite games. From Banjo-Kazooie to Donkey Kong Country, Toree Saturn takes the next step in the Toree series, from being rendered close to a PS1 aesthetic to leaping into the Sega Saturn's gorgeous charms. I remember seeing my first Sega Saturn in the video game section of a JCPenney, and it took me years to leave. A brief demo that's light and speedy, the music induces head bobbing, just like Little Me on the Sega Saturn all those years ago. Toree Saturn is accompanied by a release date of 2024. Faraway Lands, Rise of Yokai is developed and published by Mythegg Studios. It carries the elegant Kingdom game formula, which for all I know has a long storied history in past Flash games and beyond. I really don't know. It's just been almost 10 years since the first Kingdom game, and that game design is so dang smart. Whoever invented that idea stole most of the last decade from me, and I want it back. Anyway, Faraway Lands, Rise of Yokai takes the Kingdom formula and combines it with a much more in-depth city management and building experience. Beautiful and loving in its art and music, I felt like I was living in a Windows 98 pixel art screensaver come to life. I really think this game is a testament to smartly scoped projects. It also had a very balanced hand of avoiding any sensation of time sink, with not much idle time and very, very engrossing. Due to release sometime in the year of 2024. Crypt Custodian is developed and published by Kyle Thompson. Vector animation done right, Crypt Custodian's communicative attacks, beautiful style, and amazing music loves you from the first moment you pick it up. The way spatial awareness is handled in this game inspires me, as a 3D circle telegraphs your jumping, a filling circle above your character tells you your roll has replenished, and red, aesthetically pleasing arrows show you your enemy's intentions. Crypt Custodian's story of mistreatment and miscommunication is not something the game itself suffers from. With multiple paths that allow you to go your own way without thinking, an optional level up mechanic that had me wondering why I hadn't seen it before, and currency that leeches off a bit when you're near, signaling its existence, Crypt Custodian might be the most friendly and, dare I say, approachable 2D Soulsvania game I've ever met. It was a pure joy, and I'm going to grab it the moment it's released. Also, the battle music, with the synth and the crunchy beat, is so good that alone deserves studying. Kyle, if you ever see this, tell your brother thank you, because that song changed me. Crypt Custodian is slated for release sometime during 2024. Botany Manor is developed by Balloon Studios and published by Whitehorn Games. The best 19th century horticulturalist simulator I've ever experienced, Botany Manor places you as a new keeper of a manor of botany. A plot leaked through endearing messages between friends. The tutorialization was so clear, I walked into the first room and was like, I know what I'm doing. Somewhere between an escape room puzzle and green thumb schooling, Botany Manor is aesthetically flush on all levels. From playful and curiously plucked instrumentation to its high contrast styling that will no doubt make someone like me bring up the witness. The level design and its flow is a case study in making your player explore but know exactly where to go, evoking memories of books like The Secret Garden and The Clockwork Crow. The Victorian environment lends itself to tactile clue keeping and puzzle management. Also, it made me feel far smarter than any of those pompous Royal Society folks. The cues and pacing of the experience are very smart. And at the end, when the front gate bell rang, I ran to the mansion's entrance like I was greeting my wartime father home. Botany Mansion is one smartly designed experience and comes out April 9th. So that's Volume 3. There's only one more to go. I'm almost 100 games in, and there's things still surprising me all the time. At the time of writing this, Next Fest is pretty close to done, so I'm feeling the light at the end of the tunnel. Of course, if you have any recommendations or inspirations, salutations, feel free to tell me. If you think I'm a love or hate something, let me know. Reach out. This has been Fib Likley, and as always, play games, because there's a lot of them, and you should stop replaying Earthbound, because just because it reminds you of second grade when your crush found out you liked them and confronted you, and all you could do was stutter and say, Tom likes you too, effectively selling out your best friend for no good reason, doesn't mean you should keep replaying the same game. Just for instance, not from personal experience, you know. Play more games, but Earthbound is really good too if you insist on replaying that.